The companies are not the problem. I may be new to running the business, but I'm not new to raising money.
Stacy joined the collective only 3 months ago as a brand new freelance grant writer, but she is not brand new to grant writing, having won over $40 million in funding. Yes, you heard that correct. And after working her third consecutive weekend in a row of 36 hours, yes, that's a full work week in one weekend, she realized that that life wasn't cutting it anymore, and she decided to embark on her freelance journey. We are so excited to share a little bit of her story with you today, including winning her first grant as a solo grant writer. And it felt so good because it validated that she is, in fact, on the right path. I know you guys are going to love and resonate with so much of what Stacy shares today. Meet Stacy. Stacy, I am so excited to talk to you today. I cannot believe you've only been with us for 3 months and we're sitting here today.
I'm jazzed about it too.
You have won 40 million in funding in a previous career, and then you decided to go solo and become an entrepreneur. Why did you go out on this freelancing route?
I went out on freelancing initially just because I was burnt out in my career. The weekend before I left my career, I worked 36 hours that weekend. I was actually working on a proposal and I submitted it to our partner for a final review. And I was like, I need you to review this over the weekend. And he says, I keep my weekends for personal time. And I thought, I can do that? Okay, I need to be in control of my time and my peace.
What was appealing about the collective at this time that you're jumping into freelancing?
I thought, okay, I'm pretty good at writing grants and responding to RFPs, but actually don't know how to run a small startup business on my own. I was looking for how to do a funding strategy better. And then I was looking for how to write my grants faster. And Meredith and the collective just kept coming up. And I was like, this is a group of people who are doing my process, but they've formalized it, they've practiced it, they've got hundreds of people who have proven it out. They are making money doing it. So let me join this collective so that I can learn not just how to write grants, but how to make money doing it.
We love all of it. It's double whammy that all of the women and men in the collective are doing good work, getting more money into your hands. That's why we show up every day.
It's the whole thing of when you're on an airplane and there's an emergency, you put your mask on first. Yeah, we want to do good work for other people. I wholeheartedly believe in that, but you can't do any good for anybody if you yourself are drowning.
You're working 36 hours in a weekend. I'm going to guess that that wasn't just a one weekend occurrence. Now we go into freelancing, and a lot of times we think that it's just going to be the magic bullet. That doesn't always happen because it's actually the habits. What have you done to, one, set yourself up for success financially, but then two, so that you actually can protect the time that you are seeking to protect?
I worked in the tech industry for over a decade, experienced burnout in that industry because of my own habits, my desire to prove myself, and everything that I do, I'm going to do it the best of my ability. Left the tech industry in 2019, moved to Colombia.
So now we're like pandemic time.
Pandemic time. Ended up most of my time in Mexico, where I really did not do anything. I lived off of savings and I was healing. I was learning it was okay to just exist.
Oh.
I was kind of burning through my savings and I was like, oh, I need to get back to the United States and start doing some real work. Got a job and immediately went back into my old habit. I work all the time, whatever it takes to get the job done. I'm always on call. Actually, that weekend where I worked 36 hours in one weekend, that was the third consecutive weekend I had worked a significant amount of time too. And I was like, the companies are not the problem. The companies will take from you as much as you are willing to give. I felt so grateful, like, take from me more, just give me this paycheck, and I was making a lot of money. When I left and went freelance, I told myself that I was going to live in California, no less, a very expensive state, with the mentality that I had when I was healing in Mexico. I'm only working with people that I like, unicorn clients. And the funding strategy is a way for both the client and for myself to see whether we like one another's vibe before we jump into a longer term commitment. I actually started this back in December, and then I joined the collective a couple months later, and I had to learn to charge more, probably triple my prices. I happened to see a video where Meredith was talking about what you should be charging, and she's talked about fair and affordable pricing and then premium pricing. I was thinking, okay, I'm new to being a business owner, but honey, I am am premium. With all of the 17 years of professional experience, I've won $40 million in grants and contracts and sponsorships. I may be new to running the business, but I'm not new to raising money. I decided to charge on the low end of Meredith's premium package.
Excellent.
Right?
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And I was terrified. And the first client that I was kind of in negotiations with, they really balked at that. And they were like, we're a small nonprofit. I wavered. I said, okay, well, what can you afford? They gave me some super lowball number and I went with it. And this client really did not respect or appreciate the work that I provided for them. They would cancel meetings at the last minute. They behaved like they thought they were doing me a favor. That is what I learned. When you don't charge enough, people treat you according to your price. If you charge cheap discount rate, they're going to treat you like cheap discount, like an option. They're helping you out when I'm providing a really great service. I learned through life experience, but also through the first couple months of business, people treat you the way you teach them to treat you.
Yeah, exactly.
And I have not made that mistake since. And then charging more from the videos that I saw from Meredith and from the collective actually gave me enough income to be able to pay to join the collective. And my skills have improved exponentially since joining the collective. So now my clients are getting even more value out of me.
Now you're going to be at the top end of premium.
You know, I might. The other thing that I do want to share, Meredith talks about cake pricing. Really learning that and understanding it was incredibly useful for me. And then being able to put in a pause work if I haven't received payment. Game changer, because otherwise you might get into the situation, the client saying, we're going to pay you. We'll get to it soon. We'll get to it soon. We'll get to it soon. And I have net 30 terms with you and now we're 90 days past. And now you're not responding to my calls or emails. That's a problem. I only had that experience one time, and that client did end up paying, and they apologized.
We've already established that you throw your heart and your soul into everything that you've decided to commit to. It's not just taking some work. This is an insane amount of your brain, of your talent, of your skill you are giving to these organizations.
Yes, absolutely. And because I care so much about the organizations that I'm working with, and I care about their mission, and I want to see the work that they're doing improve the lives of the people they're working with, I put even more of myself into it. When I'm networking with people, I'm talking about, oh, I have this client, you should meet them. To have an experience that isn't my vibe is really disheartening, but I've had to learn to put some stopgaps in place in order to make sure that my boundaries are protected, expectations are met on both ends.
Because I have faith in the universe, often when we put our boundaries in place, they either meet us at our boundary or they fade away in a nice way.
That's really important, respecting ourselves enough to set the boundary and being okay with the fact that some people may walk away. Anyone who wants to go freelance or start their own business, make sure you have a little bit of savings, make sure you have a cushion, keep your day job and do this on the side if you need to.
How did you set yourself up to be able to step into the walk of faith and leave your full-time job?
I had done something similarly when I left tech and then I moved out of the country. And it was just this process of making sure that I had liquid savings, enough amount that was going to be comfortable for me, and enough amount that if there was an emergency, I could make an immediate pivot. I know also based on my skills and my experience that if I need to get a job, I can get a job pretty quickly. A person does have to know themselves, know what's in your toolbox already. If you have nearly 2 decades of experience and you have a strong network, you have really specific skills that are in demand, you might be able to take more risks than, say, somebody who has 3 years in the job market. There's also have some savings because this world is crazy.
I mean, like literally, yes.
Literally, being able to pivot and protect yourself is an important part of being able to take calculated risks. I had saved up some money, and that's kind of just how I live. And if ever I have a certain dollar amount, that if ever I get below that dollar amount, then it's like, okay, break glass, hit the red button. We gotta go. We need to get us a second job, a part-time job. We need to sell some stuff on eBay, whatever it is, but emergency. Knowing what that is for you also, I think, is important.
What I love about this is the confidence that you are emanating with your financials. What I mean is you're financially literate about your own financial situation. And that is such a strength. It's critical to know, not only knowing yourself in other places, but knowing your financial situation with a confidence is beautiful. Thank you for modeling that, because women don't do it very often.
When I was living abroad, I met many American expat women or like digital nomad women who were living by the skin of their teeth. They would stay in a hostel or they would get an Airbnb and it felt really sketchy. But because they didn't have emergency money, they kind of had to stay in that sketchy situation. As fun as that lifestyle digital nomading looks, you do have to take some precautions.
You're like me, the
Yes.
calculated risk entrepreneur.
Calculated risk entrepreneur. And on the outside, it looks to everyone else like, wow, you're going here and you're going there, or you've started this business, or that business didn't work out and you start a new one. And to other people, it looks just so fun and amazing and effortless. But if you live it like it's completely effortless, you might be in for a rude awakening. Anything worth having is worth working toward, is worth at least putting some semblance of a plan in place, is worth just doing it. Like you really just got to do it.
The craziest part about all of this is that the reason I invited you to do the spotlight is because you won a 30K grant. And next to 40 million, 30K might be like, why are we even celebrating this? It's because it was one of your first wins as an independent consultant. What felt different about this win?
It was validation that I can do this as an independent consultant. And if you're used to having a career and working for someone else, there's safety in knowing that there's nothing I can do that would completely melt down the company. If you're working for a tech company that had been around for 50 years, there's nothing that I can do that is going to me individually put them out of business. But when you go on your own, there is pressure. How will I survive? How will I make a living? And can I actually provide value for these clients? I had a couple of little grants come in, but then that 30K one, a couple months after I joined the collective, was huge. And it made me realize, oh, I can provide value. I can provide value even without the machine of a big company behind me. I have developed the skills and I just am passionate. So I'm willing to learn everything that I'm learning in the collective and then apply it immediately. That grant, even though 30K is small compared to what I've done in my career, it was validation that I can do good things for my clients.
We talk about these big numbers, right? 40 million, but we often forget to ask, like, what's the context? Hospital grants, huge. Medical tech grants, huge. 30K can make or break an organization.
It was so great when I got that 30K grant. The award letter came to me and then the check was addressed to me. I had to take it to my client. We happened to be in the same city. It was like Christmas. Walked in toward the end of their workday and I went to the executive director and I was holding this envelope behind my back and I said, "Hi, I have a little surprise for you." And he was just like, "We have so much going on. This happens," kind of starts trauma dumping his day on me. And I was just, well, here's 30K.
And all of his trauma just lifted off and was like, yes, we can do this.
I wish you could have seen his face because it was really like he was a 7-year-old kid on Christmas morning. The way joy and relief. He just sat down and he started telling me about how they have been surviving off of a single major donor and that donor's business has taken a hit. Therefore, that donor wasn't giving as much. This executive director had some bills coming up and then here I present them with this $30,000 check. Amazing.
That is so incredible. And what a gift that you're there to help them diversify their funding. To diversify where we can get grants, we can have multiple big donors, have small donors. All of that comes in. Maybe we even have a for-profit branch that's making money or something. There are so many different ways for us to generate this funds, and you just proved the value of that.
For a long time in my career, that's kind of what I helped in the tech industry is how do we get our product to market faster? How do we improve our organizational efficiency so that we can reduce costs? Should we be looking at acquiring companies? companies, writing grants and bringing in a check also opens the door for me to have those conversations with my nonprofit clients.
Absolutely.
Talking now with executive directors about what do you have in your toolbox that we could monetize? Who does your board know that knows someone so that you can expand your individual donor and major donor program? It's grant writing, which has gotten me in the door, but there's this whole host of advising that I've brought from my previous career.
We are a nonprofit, but that doesn't mean we don't make profits. We can actually make a difference for the community that we're serving by making money and having a financially sound organization so that we can exist to support our community for a long time instead of just trying to do this day-to-day survival.
That survival mentality is strong. It's almost a badge of honor for a lot of nonprofits to say, like, oh, we struggle. We always are begging for money. We don't pay our people hardly anything. And it's like, okay, let's explore that.
Because what if we paid our people? We wouldn't all be burned out. They could serve our community better.
We could live by our own values of paying people strong, livable wages that make our community stronger and better. But another thing that I really kind of hone in on, I sit on the grant review committee for a local organization that gives out a $100,000 grant to a nonprofit in my city every year. This year, we've come up with enough money individually that we're giving out 4 $100,000 grants. Yeah, I know, it's exciting.
This is the power of community. Like we can do, like these are the stories that we have to be shouting from the rooftops. Anyway, thank you.
I sit on the grant review committee. We get so many applications and I see folks that are saying this other organization, it takes them $15,000 per student in order to help a student. We do it for $3,000. That's a red flag for me as a grant reviewer because I'm like, how are you able to do it so cheaply? What services are you cutting out? What are you not doing? What corners are you cutting? When I hear nonprofits tell me, we just want to have as little money as possible or just the minimum, or I don't like to talk about money or making money, that's a red flag as a grant reviewer, as somebody with money to give. I'm looking at you sideways.
What I love about your inner financial confidence, that blends into other things, whether you're a grant reviewer or you're advising your clients. It's just a skill that helps all of us.
Not being afraid of the numbers. Don't hide from them. If they're bad and you can make a plan to fix it. If they're good and you can shout it from the ceiling about how great you are with it and attract more money.
Why are you waking up every day and doing this?
When I moved back to the States, I realized that I really care about the communities that I live, work, and play in. And I want to see those communities be stronger no matter what's happening externally. And the skill that I have is to write grants. I'm a great communicator. I can advise you on your business operations. That's the gift that I have, and I'm going to use it to make my community better. It's so great to be part of community.
Isn't it the best? That is our longevity secret.
We live in kind of an isolated culture, an individualistic culture, but we are stronger when we support one another, when we show love to one another, when we use our diversity of skills and life experiences to come together and collaborate. Just having experienced that in a real way outside the US, I was like, I'm bringing some of that back here.
Stacy, I am so grateful that you are a part of the Collect, and I am thrilled that we get to support you as you continue to scale this business, because the impact you've already made and the impact you're going to make, there are no words. You're so welcome.
I'm really thrilled to be part of the collective too. I mean, I've got so much good support from this community. I want to say, you're the wind beneath my wings.
Exactly. That was the perfect ending. Thank you so much, Stacy.